இல்ல நம்ம இல்ல நம்ம
Good evening, all. Shall we start, madam?
Yes, sir.
Over to you.
Ma'am. Uma, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes.
Ratna, madam, please proceed.
Yes, sir. Good evening, all. My hearty welcome to all of you for the fourth day workshop. Today's session, I would like to start with Joe Lindsay quote. Publication is a marathon, not a sprint. Writing the book is only the start. I hope today's session will be more interesting and informative. Before we start the session, a few instructions to the participants for the smooth conduct of program. Participants are requested to keep your audio and video muted throughout the session. Queries can be posted in chat box during the session. Answers for all your queries will be given by the resource person after the presentation. Feedback link will be posted in the chat box of both Google Meet and YouTube Live after the vote of thanks. Feedback link will be active for 10 minutes from the time of posting. Let us now start today's workshop. May I now welcome our Professor S. Sudha Ma'am, Department of Management Studies, to introduce the chief guest to the audience. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, all. It's my honor to introduce Dr. K. Uma Devi, the resource person of today's session. Dr. K. Uma Devi has completed her post-graduation in Commerce and Business Administration. She has also completed MPhil and PhD. Madam is currently working as Assistant Professor, Research Supervisor and Guide, PG and Research Department of Commerce, Dean, Guru Nanak Center for Incubation, Innovation, Entrepreneurship and Startup, Guru Nanak College, Chennai. Madam has more than 39 years of teaching experience at undergraduate and postgraduate levels and 8 years of research experience. Madam is also the research supervisor in University of Madras and currently guiding 4 research scholars. Dr. K. Uma Devi has received numerous awards. Madam has received Women Researcher Award in the year 2021, Outstanding Women Educator and Scholar Award in 2021, Best Teacher Award in 2020, Republic Day Achievers Award, Best Faculty Commerce HRM for the year 2017-18, Best Faculty Award in the year 2018. Apart from this, Madam has also received Best Paper Award in various national and international conferences. Madam has participated in more than 25 national and international conferences, seminars, and 30 workshops recently. She has published research articles in high impact factor international and national journals. Madam is a peer reviewer in international journals like Asian Journal of Economics, Business Accounting, Current Journal of Applied Science and Technology, Journal of Education, Society and Behavioral Science, Journal of Scientific Research and Reports, and Web of Science Group journals. Madam has editorship in journals like KKIMRC, International Journal of Research in Human Resource Management, Banyan Enclave, and Guru Nanak Journal of Multidisciplinary Research. Madam is the author of textbooks titled Business Management, Business Communication, and Emotional Intelligence. Madam has been the chairperson, chief guest, invited speaker, and resource person for various conferences, seminars, webinars, and panel discussions. She is the lifetime member of International Economics Development and Research Center, VD Good Professional Association, and Indian Accounting Association. It's a privilege, ma'am, to have such an eminent resource person with us today. I now invite Dr. K. Uma Devi to take over the session. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, ma'am, first of all, for the elaborate, a complete description about me. It was actually overwhelming for me, myself, hearing what it is. Thank you so much, Sudha, ma'am. It was very kind of you.
My pleasure. Thank you,
Yes, ma'am. A very good evening to one and all present here. I'm very happy to be a part of this 1 week virtual workshop on preparation of research grant proposal in social studies. I thank Dr. A. Narmada, Head Department of Management Studies, for having given me the opportunity to be one of the resource person for this workshop. And of course, I should thank the principal in charge, Dr. C. Murugesan, the IQAC coordinator, and the team members for arranging a very purposeful and, of course, a beneficial workshop. Let me go with the presentation. So it's a real pleasure for me to having come here and presenting my presentation. Someone can give me a feedback if it's visible.
Yes. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yes, I'll just a minute. Give me just a minute.
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Now,
So,
madam. Madam, please unmute your mic.
So moving on, I hope it's heard.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So moving on to the topic, nuances in publishing research papers. To begin with, what exactly is nuances? It means some a quality of something that is not easy to notice, but maybe very important. So I'm going to go in detail, discuss what these nuances are there in publishing a research paper. Now, when we say publishing an article, publishing in a paper, the first question which comes to our mind is why publish articles at all? Why there is so much of effort from the government, from the educational institution, who encourage us to go on with the research paper publications. The major reasons which I've given you is like showcasing authors' innovation, talent in research, to contribute and gain more from the research to society and the nation, gain prominence as researcher among national and international research community, improve chances of promotion in academia or research institutions. Of course, it is also related to this seminar, that is, which we call it as quantifying research contribution for grants and renewal of grants, and helps in improving our institutional ranking also. If you have undergone the NAC procedures, this plays a very, very vital role. So, what are the different types of research publications or publishing? There are many types of research publishing, and you can have self publish your research through any publisher. This is usually done to distribute research copies among colleagues, academic communities, even to keep it in our library, which can be displayed, and to have a hard copy record. Self publishing can also be done online through personal webpage or on academic forum, and researchers can sell limited copies of their research. The next one is publishing and go for publishing reports. We have it in seminar, conference books. Now, this is quite common method where we select authors' research papers which are presented and published in seminar or conference proceedings. It also helps in wider reach of conference papers and also gives better exposure to researchers. Collection of articles by institutions. Many academic institutions and some companies, they also bring out research books based on particular theme. And the research scholars and faculty are requested to contribute based on the theme for the book. And publishing in such books help author achieve better recognition and putting out their research to a wider or more captive audience. Publishing in predatory journals. Now, these predatory journals are those.
Excuse me, madam. The
Yes,
slides are not moving.
not moving.
No, ma'am.
What is that you can see?
Only the first slide.
Really?
Yeah.
Just a minute.
Yes, madam. Now we can.
okay, ma'am.
So maybe when it is shown in the slideshow, I'll just see. You can just let me know. Is it moving now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
This is the second thing which we are discussing, sir, the types of research publications. The slides can be seen.
Yes, madam.
No.
No,
This is the second slide.
I'm with the slide types of research publishing.
No, this is the second slide, madam.
Okay, so maybe I will.
This is the fourth slide.
This is the this you can see. Maybe my
Yes, madam. Fourth
photos are
slide.
not working. Okay, then this is actually. Can you? Is it visible in the Google Meet? It is
Yes, madam.
quite
Visible.
small. It
Yes,
is
ma'am.
okay. Then
Yes.
I'll go only with this then. So we started with the types of research publishing, where we said the first one was the self-publishing, and then publishing in seminar conference books, collection of articles by institutions. Now here the academic institutions and some of the companies, as I said, they bring out a theme and they ask us to prepare on it, and that is being published, wherein you can have more wider research and captive more audience for that particular research work. The next one is publishing in predatory journals, which we usually say are solely aimed to earn more money. So they what they do is they go for publishing these research papers as fast as possible with a subpar peer review process. Now, such journals advertise fast publishing time and publishing certificates also. And most of these journals are online journals. Many young researchers, what they do is they prefer these journals because they want to take up a platform to publish their articles at a very faster pace and get their articles in open access journal indexing, or to even increase in their blasters in their CV, or help them to gauge the research popularity. Now, all these are being done. Now, many researchers also publish in these journals as they get deceived by false claims and believe that these journals are legitimate, which, as I would recommend that to not to see to it that you try to publish in these predatory journals. UGC Scopus, local Scopus, and Web of Science listed journals. Now, in this, the publishing of UGC Care listed journals, Scopus, and Web of Science listed journals is mostly carried out by academicians and research scholars, and they gain a better citation. It also helps them in career growth and project funding. The next one is the international Scopus, and Web of Science listed journals. Publishing in this particular international Scopus and Web of Science listed journals is mostly carried out by research scholars to gain a worldwide recognition, cross-country collaborative research, institution funded research, and to gain better career credits other than the academicians. Hope my slide has changed. The next slide is publishing stage. When a research paper is being prepared, now when we say that yes, we are going to go for it, now there are few things which we have to keep it in mind. So when you're going for printing, it actually goes with three stages or three phases. The first one is draft. The rough copy of the research can be used for correction of content, the grammar, the review of colleagues. You can get the review from your guide or from a general feedback. And it also helps in improving your final research paper and present the paper in a format required by the journal. That's the first stage, which we call it as a draft. Then it goes on to the pre-printing stage. Now, many authors upload their papers in popular preprint websites like archive.org and SOCARchive to get extended review for wider academic audience. They also gain better exposure to research. They need not wait for final acceptance from the journal. Many authors also do this to ensure that their papers are available even when the journal does not allow the final paper as open source. And it puts the paper beyond paywall. So this is something which is actually people can go for it. So a pre-printing of your uh, research articles. The final thing you have is your final stage. Now here the publishing is when journal accepts the author's paper and is ready to print either offline or online. These research papers are proper peer reviewed paper which are published after corrections requested by the peer reviewers. Now, no, when we say I have to go for all these, publishing, the stages are there. Now, I want to publish. Now, before publishing, very important thing is the practical aspect of publishing research paper. The first thing to do is I, as an individual, should create an ID. It is recommended that you create IDs by registering. The one which I've stated here is the Vidwan, which has been the government of India. Here, the researcher ID, like ORCID ID, and this has been promoted by government of India. Now, this is the primer, or we say the premier database of profiles of scientists, researchers, and other faculty members working in leading academic institutions, R&D organizations involved in teaching and research in India are involved in this. Their data profiles can be found in this, and you can be one among them. It provides important information about experts' background, contact address, experience, scholarly publications, skills and accomplishments, researchers' identity, and so on. The database developed and maintained by Information and Library Network Center, which we call it as InflibNet. So this is something which is very important before you go into publishing of a research paper. Create an ID for yourself. ORCID ID is one of the very popular. We call this as a unique ID for researcher and can identify authors because there'll be no confusion even if various others, have the same name or similar kind of initials and so on. The first name, the last name, you can find there will be a uniqueness in this ID, and they can definitely find out in order, in different orders. If it is there, you can find out your name. You can identify your ID identification. So basically, ORCID ID is a non-proprietary alphanumeric code to uniquely identified authors and contributors of scholarly communication, as well as the ORCID websites and services to look up authors and their bibliography output. The next is your research ID. Now, these are few, which I'm talking is the ID creations. Now, after having created, then we have the following up where I can go for publishing. Now, this research ID is also a unique ID for researcher and can identify authors. The system was introduced during 2008 by Thomson Reuters Corporation. This unique identifier aims at solving the problem of author identification and correction attribution of work. Of course, it is less popular than ORCID ID. The next, which we are going to highlight on, I said these are the IDs where I can go for, preferably go for my research publications to be done. We have Scopus, Web of Science, Elsevier, Google Scholar, ResearchGate, and so on. Publon is one, which is a commercial website that has been provided with a free service for academics to track, verify, and showcase their peer review and editorial contribution for academic journal. It was launched during the 2012 and brought into Clarivate in 2017, wherein you can register the ID. And Scopus, Elsevier, Google Scholar IDs, which has also been required. They help in searching for journals to be published. ResearchGate, academia, of course, all those who are already into these things, they will be known with. Those who are not can also go for making or creating an ID and get into these research, researchers. Now, here, for example, if I have to take up in our college, each individual was being taken up and they were being shown that what this Vidwan or ORCID ID was, research ID was, for everyone that was being created. And thereafter, to upload in these publications, articles which you have done was being made. And thereafter, you could see your reading. People come in when you have your mail come up, say that ResearchGate, your people are reading your congratulations. Many of the authors are reading your research articles. It's been cited very well. So this becomes very, very important. Yeah. The next one is your traditional stage in research paper. Earlier, if we have to, having created this ID, the next stage which we look out for is the research paper writing. How is that? How it goes on? Now, this slide actually shows the first stage is idea generation, where there's a brainstorming, you're discussing on the problems, new ideas are being debated on, and the research, and you gather ideas from trending topics or innovations of your field of study. Then you follow up with the idea research, and you have some, previous paper reviews. You follow those, and then you say these are my ones. You can also take up the secondary data sources. Having completed your second stage, then you're going for identifying your research gap. Now, here you are, after reviewing, you say that this is something which I feel is not being taken up as a review, or as a research. Now, why don't I take up? So that helps you out to find your the problem and the gap. Then we go with the article writing, which is based on the topic, and you can start writing your articles. Only after that you go for searching for the journal, then call for papers, and then you want to go for a, publication of it. Now, this actually goes on, you do have the form of journals of internet, or you may go through various emails from publishers requesting you to publish. Now, the last stage, it says peer review and publish. Now, this is after you would have had already written an article writing in your own style. But after that, you search for the journal. There, they give you a format. They have a journal template, and you have to now undergo the complete, the correction of how it has to be again written down, or how it has to be published in a proper way. So what it is come up with is, you need to have a desired stage in research paper. Now, here we say, before even writing an article, now most of the reputed journals strictly they follow a template where they specify the length of paper, font to be used, templates for tables, charts, illustration, whether the data is required, article references. All these, are being specified in the journals. So journals usually have author templates which you can download and follow up. So it's always better to decide. You have an idea generation, you do research with a peer, reviews already done. You do identify a research gap, but then before writing an article, it is advisable to go for looking into the journals. And thereafter, in that format given, you can go for article writing, and thereby followed by a peer review and publish. So this is a way how the genuineness, or we say that there were actually a lot of questions which have been aroused, that how research can be done, or how to identify the genuineness of journal. So thereafter they said that this is how it can go on. And after having taken the template, or the way how it has to be projected, thereafter the article writing, and then go for the peer review publications. Now, this actually has helped the government to feel that it is more legitimate, and also for the granting of grants for the papers were being decided. Having done this, we have identifying the journals. Now, I said the stages were traditional. Moving on to the desired stage, where we say that identify the journal first. Now, how do I identify the journal? As far as India is concerned, the legitimate government approved journal where you can publish is UGC Care List. Now, this UGC Care List has now only two groups. Earlier, it was been in original with four groups. Now it has been simplified, and it is being converted into, or it has been grouped into two. The first one is the group one, which I say journals found qualified through UGC Care protocols are listed here. And UGC Care List 2, journal indexed in globally recognized databases are listed in group 2. For many academic incentives, grants, and postings, your article has been published. Now, if it has to be done, if you have to receive all these, at least UGC Care List Group 1, see to it that your articles are being published. Moving on to the next one is your identification of journalist Scopus. Scopus is Elsevier Abstract and Citation Database, which was launched in 2004. Scopus covers nearly 36,377 titles, approximately, I'm talking about, and 11,678 publishers, of which 34,346 are peer-reviewed journal in top-level subject fields. Now, journals listed in Scopus are generally considered to be of high quality, and research published in Scopus listed journals are accepted for various individual and institutions' incentives and grants. So, preferably Scopus. Then we have Web of Science. This is also a platform that provides access to multiple databases that gives reference and citation data from academic journals, conference proceedings, and other documents in various academic disciplines. It was originally produced by the Institute for Scientific Information, and now it has been Clarivate, which has been owned by them. One best thing I'll advise is do not publish in predatory or cloned journals, which has been like listed of cloned journals, which is available in UGC. So, having a note on that, do not opt for it. This is how it looks like it says the slide, which you can see, that how you can search the site, and where you can give the title, ISSN publisher, subject, language of publication. Once you enter the search criteria, listed of approved journals are there. It should be noted that the list is not permanent. See, always keep it in mind, it keeps changing. You will not have the same thing permanently kept, so it will be changing. Some of the journals are being dropped out from the list also. So it is very important to check every time before publishing whether these are being under care list or not. And many journal websites show that UGC care list is approved, but then finally you look into that. Currently, it is not in the list. So you be very careful before you make it into publishing. You check it out whether it is there in or not. The next thing, when I say it is for the UGC, Web of Science also has certain things to be looked into, how you can enter. So here we have, it includes Science Citation Index Expanded, which is SCIE, Social Science Citation Index, for Arts and Humanities Citation Index, Emerging Sources Citation Index. Now, Web of Science core collection includes only journals that demonstrate high levels of editorial rigor and best practice. The journal citation reports includes journals from SCIE and SSCI. The collection of lists can also be downloaded and include the journal titles. Here you can see, here you will write it, if at all you have to have the search, you can write the ISSN, EISSN, publisher name, address, and language category, whichever you want, and you can find that you can enter into to search for the various articles. As I mentioned earlier, the cloned journal list. Do not publish in these cloned journals. Avoid it, because the web page are counterfeit mirror for of an authentic journal and exploits the legitimacy of the journal's title and ISSN with slight variation in the text and image. So you can find that they try to create in similar way. Like, that's what I use the word counterfeit mirror. So try to avoid and do not publish in these. Of course, the predatory journals also to be avoided. Now, this is what the predatory journal list. Now, here you have the main aim, as I said earlier, was to earn money and quick. You can take up your publishing with a lower fee. But again, the danger which you get is your work may be subject to subpar peer review, wherein we say the peer reviewer system will not be perfect, and there'll be a very general consensus that the paper that can undergo the peer review is not being done, it will not be better. So it is always better to go for a peer review system, which may not be available in predatory. Number two is your work could disappear. No, if it is a peer reviewed publishing or publishers, you find that your work will stay. But then when it comes to predatory journals, there is always an opportunity to look into that. Today it is being done, tomorrow it may not be available. It will not long last for a period of time. And another disadvantage you can have is your work will be hard to find also. Now, here they may advertise that they are included in well-known database, Web of Science, Scopus. And finally, when you go launch into and you look into, you find that all your research, your database, you find your work is missing. And the most, thing which in the researcher will find is the embarrassment. You'll find that your research work cannot be considered for your career growth or research grant, as it was published in predatory journal, which will be very disappointing, and it will be, of course, embarrassing to an individual when it takes to a career path. Having discussed the various, the legitimate journals, Let me point out for you the journal level metrics. Now, here, one of the most important aspect to keep it in mind while publishing research papers are journal level metrics. Now, that there are many journal level metrics, but important metrics are calculated mostly the citation index database of Web of Science, which is part of Clarivate analytics, and Scopus, which is a part of Elsevier. The journal level metrics are used to measure quality of journal and relative rank of journal. They also track the citation within journals to find citation pattern and find out whether with this particular journal has highly cited or not. To move on little more further, what are those journal level metrics? What are those which have been included? Number one is journal impact factor, two site score, Scimago journal and country rank, source normalized impact per paper, H5 index, eigen factor score. Let me go a little more detail into these factors. Now remember, I'm discussing on the impact factor of the journal, not the individual. Okay. So here it is the very popular one, which we call it as journal impact factor. This is where it shows the importance of journal in a subject area. Higher JIF indicates higher citation if published in the journal. Now, this JIF is not constant. It changes depending on articles published and number of citation. Now, it can be found at the journal citation report published by Thomson Scientific. All journal websites publish their impact factor on their website. Journal's impact factor can also be found, as it has been mentioned here, www.impactfactorjournals.com. And this impact factor is calculated. I'll show you how it is calculated. Now, this is an example which I've given here. The impact factor, suppose we have to calculate for the year 2022, right? For the JIF, if I have to take up, what is the impact factor of JIF? For 2022, what we have to, it's an example I'm giving you, number of articles, they take the past 2 years. The number of articles published in 2021, for example, it was 40. The number of articles published in 2020 is 35. Now, what is that we have to do is, how it is calculated is, the articles will be added, and what they go on with, the division here is citation of this 2021 articles, that is the 40 articles, what is the citation in 2022? And the 35 articles in 2020, what is the citation rate in 2022? So it is 275. I've just given it as an example here. So here, for the past 2 years, the citation is 375. So the JIF, the journal impact factor, will be calculated as 375 divided by the number of articles for the past 2 years. So here it comes as 5. So this indicates the impact factor of 5 for the journal for the year 2022. So this is how they try to calculate and say that, usually we say if it is science journal journals, we find their impact factor is different. For the arts and humanities, we find it different. It depends on the number of articles and the citation, which points out that what is the impact factor. Moving on to the site score. Now, this is an index-based metric for journals. Its methodology was to interrupt. My slides are moving.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, moving on to the site score. Now, this is a Scopus index-based metric for journals. Now, its methodology was recently changed in 2021. From the year 2021, the count citation from the current is past 2 years. Earlier, it was being taken as 3 years, right? So here, now it's going to be with 2 years. So the 2021 site score of a journal, the citation received. Now, again, an example taken up, 2021. What is the difference between the JIF and the site score is, in the JIF, we do not take the current year. But whereas in the site score, if I have to take up for the past 2 years, it is 1890, 1920. Even the 21 is taken into consideration. So similarly, the articles published, they add it up. Similarly, the citation for till the current year, that is 2021, and then divide it, and they get their site score. And whatever the score comes in, the impact factor, they say that this is how it is being calculated. Yes, this is again a very important one. The Saimago Journal and Country Rank, which measures not just the citation but also prestige of a journal. It uses weighted index. Now, what is this weighted index? The citation from the journal with higher importance will be given more weightage. Now, for example, a one citation from a higher importance journal, if you're going to get in, then under this, they will calculate as two or more citations. And if one citation from a lower important journal is being taken up or counted, we say that they will take into consideration is it is less than one citation. I'll repeat it. If it is one citation from a higher importance journal, then the counting here, according to SciMago, will be they'll count it as two citation or more. And one citation from a lower importance, it will be counted less of it. So if this is based on the Scopus Index, the measure prestige of journal and rank. It uses again here with the 3-year citation window. The articles again are being taken into consideration, and the articles published in this SJR rated journals will be advantageous, especially for the grants and renewing grants. The next one is source normalized impact per paper, SNP, we call it as. Citation metrics are specified to one subject and does not take into account citation from the other fields. It's very clear. So it will say that it is like, science, only the science. If we have management, only the management. If it is arts, humanities. So it is depending on one subject and does not take into account citation from the other fields. And what they do is the source normalized impact per paper, that is SNP, is used to rate journals after normalizing citation from all subject articles. It gives normalized citation for different subject journals. Now, this SNP has a disadvantage, I can call it as, or it does not distinguish between ordinary research articles and reviewed articles. The review articles tend to be cited substantially more frequently than ordinary research articles. And journals that publish many review articles, therefore, tend to have higher SNP values than journals published in mainly ordinary research articles. So, SNP are less reliable for journals with only limited number of publications than for the larger journals. This is the continuation of it. For this reason, the CWTS journal indicators, by default, they display the statistics only for journals with the least 50 publications. At least there should be minimum of 50 publications. And this SNP can be obtained from using this indicator, whereby we have the main area. You can go for, selecting the subject area or the sub areas, or if you want all sub areas can be selected, and you can go for a search. And number of publication of source in the past 3 years, you can see this P, hope it is seen, which says that the number of publications which was made past 3 years, and you can find a stability interval here, which is shown, which reflects that the stability or the reliability of an indicator. The wider the stability of an indicator, it will become less reliable. Whereas the higher, if it is lower, then it is a quality journal or a better quality journal. The next one is H5 index. Now here, the Google Scholar metrics for journals, I have to be very clear, this is not for author. Okay, this is H5 index. Now it is based on articles published by a journal over 5 years. It is generally displayed, you have been displayed by Google Scholars for journals. Now here, a very easy calculation, if I say an H5 index of 50 means that the journal has 50 published articles in the previous 5 years and have 50 or more citation each. Eigenfactor score, here we have it as again a journal metric which was developed by Jevin West. Now, to be very clear, H index, H index. Now, what is that H? The H is with the Hirish, the person who has created it. That's why we call it as the H, right? So, Egan, again, here it is a score which is measured the number of times the articles from a journal published in past 5 years has been cited in JCR for how many times. Now that is what the ratio which try to calculate and take it as an eigenfactor score. That's a simple way of calculation. Now this is how it says. You can see in this, like it is not a common metric, but maybe useful for publishing in relatively more reputed journals. So far as like these are few which I have touched upon, the factors or the journal impact factors. Moving on to author. This is very important for us. I'll keep up the time and we'll move on with it. So people, fine. So the author level metric. Now this helps in understanding if the journals help in improving the citation. Now here it is individual. If the journal has more authors with higher level of metrics, now you have to look into this when you open up a journal or when you're looking into, when you're browsing into, see to it that if the journal has more authors with higher author level metrics, it indicates that the journal promotes itself and the research articles. You can publish articles in that journal and get better citation. Author level metric measures the productivity of the researcher. It helps in comparing and ranking the researchers in related field. It may indicate the research aptitude of the author, also help in getting promotions, grants, better career prospects, and so on. Your author level has three metrics: one, H index, I10 index, and G index. H index is the author level metric, which says it measures the research productivity of the author, which is popularized by the Google Scholar. It is popular metric widely used, which is useful for comparing researchers with similar career length. And it is also like comparing the researcher in similar field, subject, or department, and who publish the same in journal categories. This is how it's been calculated. Now, for example, if I have done 7 articles, now 7 papers, it's not widely seen. Yeah. Suppose it is like 7, I've displayed 7 research articles, and it has been cited 12, 11, 10, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, usually when we calculate, we need to have it in the descending order. Like you have the highest, then the lowest, then the lowest, then the lowest. This is the protocol how they calculate. And if an H index has 4 means, that is, this author has published minimum of at least 4 papers that have received at least 4 citation. If we had a value here as 5, then it also says 5. But then you can see the fifth one, it shows 3, 2, 1. It has gone, lesser than the value. Then we never take that into account. We take up only till this range. This is how the H index has been calculated, not V. H index has been calculated. And you have to keep it in mind that the author H index always increases and never decrease over a period of time. Whereas H index for journals can decrease, but for papers, if I have to say. But then this, for an individual, it will only increase but never decrease over the period of time. Now, I10 index, which is created and used by Google Scholar Citation, it helps in, of course, gauging the productivity of scholar. It refers to the publication with at least 10 citations. If we refer to previous example, the I10 index will be 3, as paper 3 were cited equal or more than 10 times. I'll just show you. Yeah, here we have 3 times. That is 12, 10, 11, 10. So if I have to take up I10 index, then 3 papers will be 3 papers cited equal or more than 10 times. Now, G index is something which is developed by Leo Egg. in 2006. Again, here it improves the H index of an individual and it gives more weightage to a highly cited research papers. G index is the unique largest number that the top papers get G square, or you say more citation. And it allows the citation from cited papers to be used for bloster of lower cited papers. And it's not much popularly or widely accepted as we have the H index. Now, I've just shown you the calculation. I have around 10 papers. The citation roughly I've given. This is the citation. How we calculate this, we have a cumulative frequency taken up. 40, 60, 71, 78 is the cumulative one. Now, what is this G square? I said G index is a unique largest number that the top papers together received. They will be termed as G square. Now, how it has been done? Now, look at what they try to do is they have squaring of your article. That is 1. Then square it. 2, 4, 3, 9. So this is being squared. It is squared until you find that this squaring and the total frequency, if it exceeds, see here it is 88, 81, until here it is fine. When the last one 89, you find that your square has become 100. Now every point you can see 40 it is 1, 64, 9, your G square is lesser. But once it reaches a point where it is more than the total number of citation, then we say that the previous one is being called as the citation, the G index, the G index calculation, which means now here you see you can look into this. To calculate, we have sorted out the research paper in descending order, add the total citation in each of the row. The example is given to you here, and a G index of 9 means that the researcher has published at least 9 articles that, when combined, have received at least 81 citation. I'm repeating it, G index 9, which means the researcher has published at least 9 articles, and combined, when it has been put, they have got at least 81 citation. Yeah, quickly to summarize on the metrics. Now here you can find that the journal level metrics, author level metrics, how to select best suitable one, and the impact factor of journal can be discerned from journal citation report, sigma, SciMago journal ranking, eigenfactors, scopus, and citation with author H index can be searched and gauged from Web of Science, Google Scholar, and Scopus. Now, to moving on, which is the journal to choose based on the metrics? Now, so many things will be discussed, but madam, which is the best one? How do I go about? How do I select? Now, examination of all these of journal and metrics is you need not do it at the early stage. The most popular metrics based on your subject area is impact factor, article, and author citation. In the later stage, you can go for research career when reputation of journal matters or SciMago journal has to be taken into consideration. In the early stage, the research career or publishing in journal, which has higher frequency, is desirable because more number of research articles can be published over a short period of time. Now, which journal to choose based on other criteria? So these are also there where we say we can have popularity of journal, which is better, we can go for it, or depending on the cost of publishing, the type of peer review. Again, type of peer review, I can classify them into single anonymous review or double peer review method or triple peer review, where we have one single person who's been reviewing it. Double, we have again the model will be preferred where we say that the author's work, the model will be preferred when the author has apprehension about bias. One person has done and there's a bias, the next person also goes for it. So that these are blind reviewed or the triple anonymous peer reviewed, where you can opt for. And you also have open review under your peer review things. So single, double, or triple peer reviewed or open reviewed. You also have a duration of peer review process, another criteria which you can take up. New research scholars should opt for a faster peer review process so that their work can be published much more faster. You do have an acceptance rate where the journal is also, even that is quite important. It can be taken into other criteria where we can highlight on new, again, all these, the last two things can be for the new researchers who initially aim to publish in journals which are high acceptance rate in their subject area. We do have journal suggesters. Apart from the journal metrics, we have popular journals offer easier way to search for best fit journal by using tool called journal suggesters. The journal suggesters based on the title and abstract of your article. Now, how this is how you have to find out. I've given an example. I pasted my abstract over here, and once you do that, you get to get some more reviews or similar kind of journal articles. You have to paste. I've given it as paste abstract. You can paste over there, and then you can find the remaining. It'll try to identify the journals faster. Another one is your Spring Nature Suggester, Springer Nature Journals Suggester. The website again here, you can text. If you can see, you can enter your article, your paste abstract. Sometimes even full text can be given. And here again, based on the title and words of the abstract, the journal suggester will match with the subject of the abstract and again identify journals faster. Something new which I would like to discuss is the Almetrics. Now here we have this Almetric journal and author metrics are important for choosing journal for publishing. Many articles which are innovative and new in a field may not gain enough citation or may not be cited at all. So, however, these researchers or those researchers may have larger impact on society and may be popular on other social media. So, Almetrics is used to measure the impact of such research. If your research falls into societal improvement or innovation category, finding which media gives better exposure to your research, all this will be important in Almetrics. And you can use Almetrics can be used in such cases. And this Almetric measures impact of individual research beyond citation-based metrics. It also shows the research paper is followed in social media. It depicts the geographical distribution of research paper and subject distribution of paper and impact of research paper in society. Now, this is a snapshot of the article via measuring. It's mentioned in policy. You can just look into the colors which have been mentioned, and here you have the colors which have been there. It says that how much is being measured, how many of them see, or how many affiliate policy documents, news, blogs, Twitter, post-publication peer reviews, Facebook, various other professional or social network patterns. Such detailed data can be obtained from open source or proprietary tools. Some of the popular Almetric tools is that which I have shown you in the slide. Yeah, these are the ones. Almetrics.com, Plumex, Science Card, Classo Impact Explorer, Reader Meter, Impact Story, Paper Critic. Now, almetric.com is a very popular service. Many services are free, and some services have free API too, which helps in building own tools. Plumex provides insights into ways people interact with individual pieces of research output. Science Card is a website that automatically collects metrics for a particular researcher based on unique author identifier. This Lasso Impact Explorer allows the browsing data collected by almetric.com, papers published by the Public Library of Science. Reader Meter, it is a mashup visualizing author level and article level statistics based on consumption of scientific content by a large population of readers. Impact Story is a web-based application that makes it easy to track the impact wide range research artifacts. Paper critics offer researchers a way of monitoring all types of feedback about their scientific work as well as allows everyone to easily review the work of others. Now, lastly, I would like to share what are the ways you can increase your article citation. Choose trending research topics, very, very important. Now, which can attract funding or you can attract faster acceptance rate, right? The second thing is open access. Publishing in open access journal increases uh, readership rate, has wider reach, more downloads, better citations, and so on. And the next one is preprint, which I have discussed earlier. Like even if your paper is not allowed, in the main journal, it could be taken up in a preprint and been allowed to be accessed by a wider audience. International collaborations, it helps in improving research profile, gain international recognitions, ease international journal publishing, and so on. Interdisciplinary, if possible, collaborate with science authors who have higher citation than researchers in other disciplines. You can also increase your co-authors for publishing in higher cost or prestigious magazines. Then institutions helping in publishing. Again, here the institution can tend to popularize the published articles. There is also a possibility of cross citation by using academia network and publish in professional networks like LinkedIn, ResearchGate, academia.edu, educators forum to improve almetrics and research impact of research. With this, I hope I have made some kind of input or some kind of input is being given to you, and hopefully it has reached to the audience.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your gracious, wonderful session. We are, of course, enlightened by the information provided by you. Dear participants, you may now post your queries in the chat box or unmute yourself and raise your queries.
Thank you, Dr. Yadav. I think even he was appreciating while... it is audible, madam?
Ma'am.
Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Audible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Yadav, sir. Dr. Yadav, for his appreciation. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because nowadays it so happens, like, every time question comes, what is the research publication? How do we go about? This is a small eye opener. I feel like I have given you. If you go into, you've got to explore. Even I have to explore a lot. It's not actually ending. You need to explore a lot and then give a insight about how do we go about. Because as I was mentioning, most of the citations, when we say UGC care list, today it is available and we say, okay, we are going to, if you are a guide, you will know, you say that please publish in this, and the next moment you say that it is not in the list. So a lot of changes are happening. So you need to be very careful before you publish your articles.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Hope I've kept up to the time and people would have not been bored with the presentation. Thank you for all the appreciation which I'm receiving. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Participants, if there is any query, please. Ma'am, someone, Rihanna, madam, kindly let us know what is the local scopus, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Local scopus, it is the articles which we actually give it within India. Now, there were two, I've mentioned two, right? One was international and one was the local, which we call it as normal scopus, which is being in India. You can have both. You can highlight in international based database, the research things are there. Scopus is being done, which we said Web of Science. If you do it in Indian, which we call it as the articles to be published in India, that is the local scopus.
Ma'am, someone Ramya Mani raised the query. How we can identify the unpaid journals?
How you can identify the unpaid journals?
Yes,
Ma'am, if I have to be very clear, if you go for this LC work and the other journals, usually they say it is unpaid. If you have to go for, if it's a very good research journal, they will not ask you money, but your paper will be reviewed many number of times. There will be a lot of reviewing which will be done. It will not be done within days time or months time. It will go on with even sometimes 6 months or 1 year or so. And those, if you have to go for, you do not pay. And the rest of the journals which you say is definitely, to go with the payment, that those are like, they call them as, payment, which is for, any kind of transactions and so on. Actually, if you look into these journals, the reputed ones are unpaid journals. They call it as publishing fee, and they try to charge you.
Thank you, ma'am. Someone, Santosh ENC raised the query. How to improve the citizen index value? Which journal to publish? I-10 index. Please give some tips, sir.
See, to improve yours individual citation, I've given you a few tips. You have two things were being said. One, the journal impact, like how it has to be improved. For individual, if my work is being cited by some of the co-authors, others. So for example, I'm doing a research work. Okay, I'm doing a PhD. And the title seems to be the same, something relevant to it. And people look into and give in their thesis the reference that I have cited this particular article from the research gate. That's what I said. Register yourself. You have to register yourself, and then you see to it that your articles are being uploaded in it. When people cite it, when people look into it and mention as your journal or your article as a reference in their articles, then you say your citation will improve. So it actually takes time. How many people are reading? That's another count which we have to go for. So as people start reading more, and when it connects to their articles or what they are doing as a research, then definitely it will increase your citation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Ma'am, Satya Savitri raised the query.
50,000 for each. What was that? 50,000 for each? Can I have that? What is the question?
Scopus publication cost nearly 80,000. Is it true, ma'am?
That's what I said. It is not, predatory, which I called it as. Do not go for such kind of it, which are, if we have to go for international. See, local, you cannot go for, it cannot be 80,000 and so on. But then Scopus, Web of Science, it will take time where the research has been done, especially international level, it can be 80,000 or even more than that. Even more than that. Especially for the science, if I have to take it up, where they do a research where practically it is being done, definitely. And you will have, see, this cost, which you say 80,000 or 1 lakh, will not be shared by one person. You'll have a lot of co-authors. That's why they said it is preferable to have co-authors. So they will share. Even when we take up patents, there they say that it is actually costly. But then you can have co-authors where you share it. So here the work will be shared. When I say 80,000, my work will be shared. We have 3 people or 4 people, and we'll include international people also into it who will be co-authoring with us. And there the amount can be 80 or 90, not in the local scopus. Okay. Hope I have given the answer for, I don't know who has questioned me.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, one more query, ma'am.
Yes,
can we republish the published paper if it has been taken by publisher after a particular period of time?
Republishing, you should not. I don't think so you should do. what I can suggest, one I can give a clue there is, see, we do when we finish our PhD, the article is my research work. It's already done. It's come in the book. Everyone can see. This can be published once it is being reviewed and they say that it is ready for publication. Those things can be republished, or you say with some corrections, it can be republished. But article which is already being done cannot be republished. It should not be done. It becomes like a fraudulent act. It should not be done. And do not give also. Do not wait for people saying that we will republish. Do not pay them and do a republications. Please do not do it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am, Priya Abraham from YouTube Live, she raised a query. Ma'am, most journals are listed in UGC, but not having impact factor. Whether it is better to go for impact journals or UGC care?
UGC care is must, because they say, for the grants or whatever we are discussing on this topic, they say that it is preferably UGC care list. Impact factor, of course, we have to look into, but preferably I'll say go for UGC care list. Because what we say is, the last point which I was coming up, if you are a new researcher, it depends on people who have experienced and the new researcher. So if you want to have your publications to be done, at the early part of it and at the quick rate of it, then do not look for more of impact factor. You can go for publishing in our UGC care list.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for clearing all participant query with the utmost patience and for enlightening us on the subject. Feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it, says William Arthur Bard. Let me now invite our HOD, Dr. A. Narmada ma'am, to propose the vote of thanks. Ma'am, please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening to all. On behalf of Department of Management Study, Rajbait Jain College, Chennai, it's my great honor and privilege to propose vote of thanks. My heartfelt thanks goes to our resource person, Dr. K. Uma Devi, Assistant Professor, Research Supervisor and Guide, PG and Research Department of Commerce, Dean Guru Nanak Center for Incubation, Innovation, Entrepreneurship and Startup, Guru Nanak College, Velachery, Chennai, who despite her busy schedule has found time to grace this session. Thank you, ma'am, for your interesting and enlightening presentation on the today's topic and patiently clearing doubts of the participants. Next, my sincere thanks to our college management members, President Sri or Dayanchan Savansaga, Dr. Harishal Mehta, Secretary and Administration, Sri Jaswant Munot, Secretary, Academic and Finance, Principal in charge, Dr. C. Murugesan, Professor in charge, Dr. M. Saktivel Murugan, IQC Coordinator, Dr. B. Jagadisan, for their continuous support and guidance to this workshop. My heartfelt thanks goes to my department team members, Professor G. Anvalagan, Professor Puvaragavan, Professor Venkadachalam, Professor Subha, Professor Kalpana, Professor Renita Nathan, and Professor Sanmugam for their excellent cooperation and hard work to ensure that this workshop become a memorable success. I thank my student Pavan Kumar, 2nd BBA, for his technical support of this workshop. I extend my thanks goes to all the participants for their patient listening and active participation. Once again, thank you one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Uma, madam. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all for thank you all participants for all your valuable presence and cooperation. Dear participants, feedback links for fourth day workshop will be posted in Google Meet chat box and YouTube chat box, and it will be activated for the next 10 minutes. With this, we have come to the end of this session. Hoping to meet you all tomorrow. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Again, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.